Here we go. The moment everyone's been waiting for. So yeah, so what I thought we would do is we would attempt to deploy our cities project because it's been so fun. And the first thing that we need to do, as you guys can see here, is we want to push our code to GitHub. And we're going to be doing something called making a git ignore file. Does anyone know what that file does?
Yeah. So whenever you're trying to merge it to the current repo you have, it ignores those.
So what our git ignore file is doing is just saying ignore these folders and directories that I don't want to be part of my repository, essentially, right? So let's open this guy up here. Let me minimize everything here. Is there already a git ignore? Oh, there is already this git ignore file here. Okay, cool. So it looks like when we use create React app, it's already creating a git ignore file for us. We may still want to create our own, however, and I think it's suggesting that here.
Can we edit the one that's already there?
Yeah, you could do that too. Just keep in mind that because that git ignore file is inside the client directory, it probably won't apply to things that are outside of it.
So we can create one at the server level.
Yeah, and all we want to put inside there is those node modules because we don't want those, you know, ballooning up our project size. So node modules. Okay, what else do we want to do? Right, that's just kind of like talking about what the git ignore actually does. The other thing that we want to do is we want to initialize a Git repo. It did say here, though, let's go ahead and clear out all those things that create React app created for us. Let's get rid of the inner git ignore, and let's get rid of the inner git file or folder. So let's do that real quick. We'll say rm, sorry, that's kind of small.
We're going to remove them?
We're going to move the inner one that's inside that client directory. That way, because we only want to have one Git repository. Right now, there's sort of a separate repo inside of our client directory. So we'll say client and then .git ignore. And then we're going to say rm-rf. What the heck? Oh, too many active changes. Okay. rm-rf client/.git. Okay. Okay, so now essentially there should be no, if I run git status, see how it tells me this is not a git repo? So now I can initialize it, right? I can say git init, okay? And then we'll say git add dot, what's that doing, everyone? Yeah, current directory and everything below it that's not in our git ignore, right? So it should ignore our node modules. Cool. And then we will commit. So git commit -m. And M just means we're going to have some kind of a message here. So we'll just say our initial commit, exactly. Okay, fair enough. And then the next thing that we're probably going to want to do is we're going to create a GitHub repository for this guy, right? So let's go to our GitHub. Okay, go over here, repositories, new. Okay, we'll call this cities. Oh yeah, Marin cities. No, I'll just call it cities. Change my mind. Okay, we'll make it public. You guys want to make yours private if you're doing this for the exam. Let's create that guy. Okay. And now it's telling us this is how we can push an existing repository up. So this is what we're trying to do, right? because we have this existing one on our computer. So let's go with it. Add origin right here. Back to our terminal.
So that allows us to connect the current repo we have in the repo we created.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And then the second command means let's actually push up our code to that remote.
So with
Right.
local terminology, say remote is anything outside of the Github, and origin is reside in the Github itself.
Well, the remote right now is on GitHub.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's the remote that we're treating kind of as our I don't know.
like it's around.
Mm-hmm.
The origin is just a variable that holds the address of that GitHub link. You can name it anything else.
This right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could call it something else. Yeah, and it's convention to call it origin now.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. Cool. Let's keep moving here. So back to our instructions. We've done this. We've created the new repo. We've pushed up to it, right? What else? Now we got to deal with creating our server instance on AWS, right? So let's go to aws.amazon.com. My account, AWS Management Console. Okay, I'll use LastPass to give me this guy. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Yeah, or yeah, you just create a new account with a different email address, right?
Yeah,
All right. So, sorry for being a bad guy and suggesting this, but
I have 5 accounts. It's okay, you know. So.
I don't know. Yeah, so we want to go to the EC2 spot in this, right? And it's telling me I've got a running instance, so maybe I better shut that down so I don't get charged.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just check this, go to actions, instant state, terminate. Yes, terminate. Yeah, and then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually launch a new instance. So let me go to launch instance, click on this. Okay, and then the one that we're looking for is this Ubuntu 18.04. Deep learning. I think this is what I want, this LTS right here. Let me double check. Should be right. Yeah, HVM, right? Okay? And it's very important that you guys kind of notice that it says free tier eligible.
Right.
Otherwise, charges may ensue.
How much they charge? Yeah.
It's really not some huge amount or anything, but just to kind of eliminate some uncertainty there, just make sure you do the free tier eligible one. And again, if you have more than one instance running at a time, you will be charged. Okay? It's probably going to be like some pennies per day, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could add up if you don't look at it for a while or whatever. But yeah, exactly. If nobody's even looking at your project, it probably won't be anything huge there. Okay. You guys can choose this T2 micro instance. Again, it shows here that it's free tier eligible. Okay, review and launch. Let's go ahead and launch this. Or actually, before we do this, let's go into the security group thing here, because you are going to want to change this. Right now, it's saying that we can access this via SSH from anywhere, which is fine. But we also want to add a rule here saying that we can access it via HTTP from anywhere, because otherwise nobody else is going to be able to look at your content, right? Okay, so you can just specify anywhere here. All right. So that's all good. Review and launch. Okay, that's fine. It's just saying it's open to the world. Well, that's my intention, right? Because I actually want to make this website viewable. Okay. So now what it's saying is that we can either create a key pair or we can use an existing one. I'm just going to create a new one since we're pretending like this is the first time we've ever done this. So let's just do create a new key pair, and we'll call this Mern key pair. And then I'll click download that guy. Okay, now let's launch that instance. Cool, and then if I go to it, there we go. It's just kind of giving me a status, telling me that it's pending. It's still trying to load up and so forth. As soon as this finishes up, I should have access to that. There's a connect button up there.
Might be under action.
I saw it up here. It's just grayed out. So up there,
okay.
yeah. You guys can't even see it on the projector.
No.
But yeah, right here, there's a little
There's an invisible
connect button. It's grayed out right now. Yeah.
There
Okay. There we go. There we go. Cool. So what it's telling us is that to SSH into our server, we need to make a change to the permissions of that key pair.
Love
Yeah. All right.
that.
So in here, let me just cd into my downloads directory because that's where it puts my key pair. Let's run this guy. Okay, cool. And then to connect to it, we just need to run this over here. So we're going to say ssh-i, the name of the key pair, and then this connection string is just saying what is the address of our server, right? Cool, so I should be able to go in here and connect. Okay, and then it's going to ask you, are you sure about this? Yep, I am. All right, cool. Now we are connected to our server, right? That's why we're seeing this green right there. All right, looking good. Let me go back to our instructions here. So we've connected. Let's keep going down. Oh, here's another thing too in the security groups. If you were going to use HTTPS, you have to add that as an additional rule there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you're using some kind of an SSL certificate on your server, you'd want to do that. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. We created our new key. We did all this, right? Okay, fair enough. So a couple things we want to do with our server. The first thing, whoa, you guys probably can't see this very well. We want to update it, and then we also want to install a few things. So let me run these commands here. Now
You
it's
do both at the same time?
yeah, you can.
Okay.
So yeah, pasting them in, you can see it did the update part.
Oh, okay.
And then here, I just need to press enter again for this guy.
I see.
So this is going to install a few different things. We're installing Nodejs. We're installing npm, which is our package manager, right? And we're also installing Nginx. Does anyone know what that is?
I've heard of it.
Oh, and Git too. Yeah, you notice that? We're installing Git. Cool. So Nginx is going to be our web server.
Ah, okay.
We're going to use that to actually serve applications. Okay, cool.
Okay, so you paste both commands and it automatically runs in one.
Yeah, it ran the first one because there was a carriage return in between those two guys,
got it.
but it didn't run the second one because I hadn't hit enter yet.
Gotcha. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
What is this one? I'm just curious. What is this?
Little phone.
Oh, this emulator? Yeah, it's just something I was playing around with Flutter.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I created this little to-do app.
ooh.
Oh, it's not responding anymore, but yeah. It's a little tougher than creating in React, I will say. Yeah.
Flutter.
Flutter? Yeah. Flutter is a framework to create cross-platform apps. The language that it uses is called Dart.
Oh.
Dart is kind of like somewhere in between Java and JavaScript. It's kind of interesting.
So you
Yeah.
can just use that like for iOS
And also
Android.
for Android, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's not like Swift or something.
Yeah, like
Like Swift is only for.
Right, exactly. So rather than just developing for one or the other, you can develop a cross-platform application that should be able to run on both. Yeah, pretty cool. All right. So now that we've installed these guys, we should be able to, see this page right here? If we just go to our server, let's try that. So let's close that. Our IP address is this guy right here, our little public IP. Let's go to that. Hey, great. Cool. All right, so we did that part right. Let's see if we can mess anything else up.
Right.
All right.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. So yeah, for now. So let's go down. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to actually clone our repository onto this server, right? Okay. And then if I go back to my repo here, I had this on SSH, so I need to change this. Let's clone it from here, from the HTTPS. Okay. I think we're just cloning it into the main folder, right? Did it say where it wants us to clone it?
Just for the main.
Wow, interesting. All right. All right, fair enough. So we'll go git clone, paste in the URL. Okay, so now our code is there, and if I were to do an ls in this directory here, you can see that I've got this cities down here, right? That's my actual repo. Cool.
Also, like, did you have to like modify our code in the first place to compensate for the fact that we take the other
Yeah, was that in here somewhere?
I think so.
It wasn't?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Houston, we have a problem. Yeah.
So we would have to like set some type of like.
Might be. It might be later on, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully it's mentioned later on. If it's not, then maybe we'll have to manually do it. Oh, well. Not the end of the world, right? In fact, maybe we should do it right now in the repo and then just pull down those changes, right? Yeah, I don't know that I want to mess with that. All right, cool. So let's see about how we can fix that. So right now, our server and our client are completely separate, right? And we had our routes. Let's see. Okay. So what I want to do, though, is I want to add something in my server.js, basically saying that if I passed all of the routes that I had currently, let's go ahead and send them to the React app, right? And we do need to change those API requests, don't we? Oh, man. Okay. This sucks. All right. All right, so we can add sort of like a catch-all route down here. We can say app.all, so no matter what type of request it is, if I make something to any route, I'm going to have my little callback function here. And I'm going to do something. I'm just going to say res.sendFile. And what's the file that I want to send them? It's going to end up being inside of our build folder, right? Which we don't even have yet because we haven't built this thing before. Let's come back to this because I want to follow the instructions as they are, and then if let's just see what we want to do, right? Next, to make the following commands more copy-pastable, we will export a variable on our server. So we're saying export repo name equals mern-deployment. our repo name is cities, right?
Mhm.
So let's do that then. Export repo name. Yeah. Export repo name equals cities. Oops. Okay. All right, what else do we want to do? Then we want to just echo that. So this is kind of like proving to ourselves that this name works, right? Repo name. Okay, cities in there, cool. Then every time we want to refer to that variable, we can just use the $sign to reference it, right? Okay. Setting up the front end. So now we want to actually cd into our project, and we want to install all the dependencies. Okay, so let's cd into cities. Oh yeah, if I wanted to use that, true. Yeah, good point. So okay, so cool. We're inside there, right? And then what did I just do? Home? What happened? Or I'm sorry, repo name is what I want. Cities? Where am I here?
You gotta go into the.
Oh, into the Ubuntu directory?
Yep.
Somehow I ended up outside of there. I didn't really mean to. Okay, so now if we do cd repo name, there we go. All right, cool. So now we want to do npm install, or I, to install all the server dependencies, right? Yeah, exactly. So now it's going to reference this file right here, the root package.json. Okay, cool. Next, we'll cd into the client folder and then delete a folder at var. Okay. All right, so let's cd into client. Oops. And then we're going to delete some things here, or we're going to delete one thing here, which is this HTML folder. That's the thing that was showing us that welcome to Nginx.
Oh,
right. Okay. And then we want to move something, it looks like. We're going to move a build folder over here. Do we have a build folder? I don't think we do.
Unless it's something that it puts in.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to build it before pushing. Oh well. All right. Well, let's fix that problem then, right? So if I go back here to my local terminal, I should be able to do npm, or I need to go into my client, right? npm run build. And then what we can do is once we've done that, we can commit the new changes to our code, push that up, and then pull it down on our remote, right? Because we kind of forgot to do something there. All right, cool. And then the other thing I want to finish up is just sending the file. Now I can show you guys where this build folder resides. So it's inside here. Inside the build folder, I should have an index.html. That's what I want to send somebody if all my other routes fail. Okay, so we'll go. We haven't really touched on this before, but I'm going to use this variable called dirname, _dirname. That means whatever current directory I'm inside. And then I want to append to that client/build/index.html. Okay, and then since I don't really need this request, I could underscore it out if I want. Okay, cool. So now let's make these changes. We'll say git status, and I should have some changes ready, right? I've got this whole new build folder. Git add everything. Git commit fixed missed step, and then we'll git push. Put that up onto the remote. Okay, now that that's done, I can go back to my remote server and just pull down these changes, right?
Reclone it. You have to go back to
So if I go back to my main directory, I should just be able to say Git Pull to pull my changes. Okay, very good. CD back into the client. And what else were we doing here?
move the build.
Oh yeah, now we want to move the build. Exactly. Where was build? Next. Oh, here we go. Okay, so sudo mv. We're going to move the build actually into our this var / www / html directory. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to restart our Nginx. Okay, so let's see what happens here. We just restarted our Nginx. If we navigate to our browser to our IP address, we should see the front end of the React app. Okay, let's see if that happens. So I think we had it here, right? Hey, great. All right, not bad. Okay, so let's make sure we can finish things up. So the other thing here was that we had all these calls here where we were specifying localhost and stuff, right? So we've got a little command in here which should allow us to replace all of these instances of localhost with what are we changing it to? I don't even know what this is saying. It will use grep, okay, right? Global regular expression print to find all lines that contain the string localhost and pipe them into sed stream editor. Do a find and replace to remove the matching string. Okay. So in other words, we want to remove the entire thing that says http ://localhost : whatever it was 4500. Right. I think he put 8,000 in there, so I may have to change that.
Yeah, just change it to 4,500.
Change it to 4,500 because that's what we have in ours. Yeah. Okay. So let's do this.
Oh, you didn't change it to 4,500.
Oh no.
Oh, did you mess it up? Oh.
Oh no, actually that wouldn't have messed it up because it wouldn't have changed anything,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, it doesn't
There
matter.
would be no
Yeah,
matches.
no matches.
Okay. Whoops. All right. Okay.
Now
So
it should work.
theoretically that should be okay, and then let's setting up the back end.
Oh, you gotta change it. You go, I was like, oh, okay, maybe not.
Okay. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is we have to do some changes with our backend because we haven't even installed MongoDB on the server side, right? So that's what all of this stuff is. So this is installing Mongo. We're installing 4.2, it looks like. Let's try all of this. Yeah. Installation time. Okay, and then after that's done, it looks like what we'll do is we'll just start up our Mongo and then double check that the status is good.
No, that's multiple commands. They can run them once the first one's done.
Okay, so now we're going to run the sudo service mongo dstart.
Service Mongo. I think
Oh yeah,
typo.
why did I say that?
I don't know.
Mongo dstart. Okay, and now we want to check the status of that, right? Service mongo d status. D status. Okay, sure looks good to me, right? Green all around, active running.
Yeah.
That's nice. Cool. So let's keep going here. Next we'll configure Nginx. Alright, so Nginx has some default files inside of it. We're going to remove one of them, which is just the default configuration. Okay. let me quit out of there. Okay, and this is going to allow us to specify our Nginx configuration. Now, here's the configuration that we've got here. I'm probably going to make my edits inside of VS Code, though, because you guys can edit it directly inside Vim.
Right.
But I don't know that I'm really in love with doing that.
You want to use the JKL and stuff to go up and down. That's right.
All right.
Using execute.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any changes we need to make in here? I'm not sure there are any changes we need to make to this config.
Localhost
Yeah.
2000. I don't know if that's
Because
in
right
effect
now
yet.
it's saying that the root is going to be var/www/html.
No, which
So
is right.
that's fine.
Right.
Because we moved our project into there.
But the proxy pass, do we still want it to be 8,000? Or do we want
No,
it
I
to be
don't.
4,500?
You are right. All right, good. So let's try that. Let's go into our VS Code. Just change it there. 8,000. 4,500, right? Let's grab this guy here, and then let's just do I for insert, paste it in, and then we can go escape to exit the insert mode, and then we could say WQ to write and quit. All right. This configuration will point all requests that start with /API to the backend. Okay, very good. And we'll respond to every other request with our index.html file. Oh crap. That means I shouldn't have made that change in server.js, huh?
Why?
Oh, maybe that won't even matter. Yeah, I guess that wasn't needed. I got ahead of myself. Because yeah,
Well,
whoops.
let's see.
All right. So if your backend server runs on a port other than 8,000, change the config to use that, which we did.
Mhm.
Now that we have set up the configuration, we can test to see if the backend is now connecting.
Oh shoot! Yeah, first thing change it before.
All right. So let's try all of this. We're CDing into that. Aren't we already in there though? Okay. So we want to run node server/server.js, right?
Nodemon? Or no? Oh, just
No, not node. Or not nodemon, sorry. Well, nodemon we only use for development purposes, like on our own local computer. Yeah. So sudo service nginx restart. Okay. So let's do that real quick because we made a change to our nginx configuration, right? Sudo service, nginx restart, and then we'll say node server/server.js. Okay, so theoretically this thing should be running properly. So if I check my network, let me just see if the call went through okay. Cities not found.
on the server.
Failure black
Oh no.
I'm just serious. It's perfect. I'm kidding.
So what's happening? Our route actually got routed to our it got routed to our front end application, right? Our actual request to the back end.
You should delete the line that you sent.
Wait, why was the request not made to /API/cities? Oh man.
When I was like after doing this, like using them, I had like so much more respect for them.
Yeah, exactly. API/cities. Let me just see if we can make a call to this. Oh, so that's working. So that's working. It's just the request was going to /cities, not /API.
Yeah.
Why is that? Does that mean our grep change jacked it up?
Maybe.
It did, didn't it?
Only the 8,000 they changed.
Yeah.
Oh my
They actually did
gosh.
mess it up.
Yeah.
Because they ordered 8,000
It did look for the 8,000 and
and
just
changed
did
it. Oh.
So we might need to do that to 8,000 instead of 45.
Redo everything.
Here,
Redo everything. Because the 8,000 is coming back to that one. Yeah.
Seems to me like we could. Oh gosh.
4,500 and it's gonna have the same
Yeah. Everything.
request right now. Route
Is that what it was though?
That's
Because I did it with 8,000 first?
Yeah.
I think so.
And he's looking for everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try.
There's no way they can delete that. That's like pseudo right there.
Yeah.
All right, let me see what my Git status is on my server right now. Okay, so client was like moved, right, completely. Okay, what if I revert? What if I go git checkout dash dot? What would that do? That would change my Git status back to this. Right now I'm up to date. Okay, now I could do that replacement again, fix it theoretically.
Theoretically, yes.
Where was that grep?
Right there.
Okay, right here. Let's do this. Oh crap, but I have to move it back to the HTML folder, right?
Oh, yeah. You gotta go a couple more right there.
Okay, so we moved the build all the way over there. Let me just grab this.
Oh, do you have to reinstall build?
No,
Because of
no, because now I'm back in sync with my master.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it had been built the first time, right?
Okay.
Okay, so let's go move the build. Whoops, I got to go into my client first, right? Jesus. Okay, so let's just go cd into the client, and then let's move the build folder over here. Okay, now let's run that grep command again, and make sure.
To change 8,000 to 4,500.
Wow. I hope that was the problem and it wasn't something
Right now.
else.
Well, we'll find out right now.
Okay, 4,500. Okay. Now let's do our sudo service. Oops.
Gotta go out one, no?
No, not to restart Nginx. I should be able to do that from anywhere.
Oh.
Whoops. Oh, sudo service Nginx restart.
Yeah.
Whoops. I messed it up. Nginx restart. Okay.
Oh, you
Yeah, I wanted to
switched it up.
restart that because I made some changes to the files, right?
Yeah, there you go. City.
Oh, it's a bad gateway. Okay, well that's a different error, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Holy moly. So what's the bad gateway here?
Yeah, City.
So it seems to me like Nginx is saying something like, oh, I know what the problem is. Well, we're not running our server, right? So let's try to run it. Whoops.
That might do it.
Yeah, my mistake. All right, so let's just go node server. Sorry, this is so rough. Let's run it. And let's see if... Oh, awesome. Look, it worked.
There we go. So
Okay, so yeah, we're getting closer. Okay, cool. So what else do we want to do here? We tried that, so we're just running it with Node. But what we want to do is we want to install this thing called a process manager. It's called PM2. And what that will allow us to do is it will allow us to run this project indefinitely without having Node open in our terminal, right? So let's finish up with that. So we're going to go sudo npm I pm2-g, which means I'm installing that globally, right? Okay, so we'll get out of this. Oops. Paste that guy in. Let's install PM2. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start server.js. Okay? So let's do it once this is done. Okay, so I'll say PM2 start, and then I'll say server/server.js. Okay, it just started the process, and then if we ever want to check and see how things are doing, we could say PM2 status. See, so it's kind of telling me right now you're using 13% of the CPU. That'll go down though, because it kind of spikes when you first start something. So now it's 0.6%, right? Okay, so now I should be able to actually get out of my server and things still works. So again, if I were to refresh here, we can still make that city's API call. And it's empty, but I should be able to create a new one. Some new city, 500,000, some url.com. Okay, cool. So it got created. Everything's good. Party time. Now go have yourself some lunch.